future, shattered dreams.
Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, June 4th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News. Happy Killdozer Day, and also happy Tiananmen Square Massacre Day. I don't think either of those events are something to be celebrating, but we'll cover all of that today as those happened on this day. What else do we got today? I think Rumble chat may be integrated. If you're on Rumble, give me a sign. I didn't even log into it. Maybe I should log in. That could help. Okay, what do we got today? The big beautiful bill, big pushback from Musk. Looks like a bunch of political theater. Honestly, what does Trump say? Get rid of the debt limit altogether? I don't know. Maybe we should. Congress just raises it every time anyway. What's the friggin' difference? Congress is bitching about, who is it? MTG, some others I saw. Yeah, I can't believe I voted on this bill. I didn't read it. I think we covered that a little bit yesterday, talked about it yesterday. It's just clown world. Idiocracy. That's where we're at here in America. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're live there on the Rumble. So I can see the Rumble chat there. Thorn, thank you for tuning in on the X. We do have one listener on the X. Saw the chat come through the post. Another thing about X is we've had a lot of broken promises by Mr. America, Iron Man, Elon Musk. They promised a long time ago, streaming your content on X, it's gonna be wonderful. We're gonna create all this stuff for streamers, for video. Nothing. We're shadow banned into oblivion. Whatever, dude. Okay, what else news do we got? So the back and forth political theater. Musk cares about the debt. Trump doesn't. That's what they're selling us today. We'll go over that. The auto pin is the biggest political scandal in American history, Trump says. Really? I think there's a lot bigger than that, but whatever, dude. We'll cover that a little bit. Of course, your fake alternative media is pumping that. It's just, come on, man. Come on, man. I thought we were better than this. Apparently not. Sideshow Bob, Corinne Jean-Pierre she's jumped ship and now is an independent after she lied to us with her sideshow act there at the White House for I don't know how long, 2-3 years, however long her stupid sideshow hairdo was in there. Now she's admitting it all in a tell-all book. Arrest her. You know what I mean? Arrest all of them. Nothing will happen. What else do we got today? A lot of Palantir news now. It seems more and more people are becoming aware and concerned about Palantir. We've got Palantir report here from, I didn't know. Everybody should go to Palantir website directly to the source and dig in, and you can find a lot there. But we have Palantir partnering with my energy provider here in powers like probably over half of California. I don't know how much, but we'll go over a report about since they partnered with Palantir, how much rate increases have gone up here. They're literally financially raping us for energy in the name of efficiency. We'll go over that. More flashback. I do believe when we had Simon on the show regularly, we reported about Lavender, Palantir AI kill system they're using in Gaza. And so we're flashback to that as more reports and more revelations, and more people are becoming aware about the threat of the Palantir AI kill system and putting you on an enemy's list potentially as a domestic terrorist. So all of that fun stuff to go over. A lot about aardvark genocide today. They're bombing Lebanon, they're bombing Syria, they're bombing Gaza, they're bombing the West Bank. They're out of control maniacs, fully backed by the U.S. U.S. vetoed a UN resolution. What was it? UN. Let me get the wording right here for you. UN Gaza ceasefire draft resolution was vetoed by America today at the United Nations. Go America, go genocide. Don't be an anti-aardvark. All of that to cover more fallout from Operation Spider's Web, NATO warmongering as usual, UK warmongering as usual, Trump and Putin, I guess the most evil man in the world. Putin runs America again. Trump had an hour and 15-minute phone conversation with Putin. Putin says he must retaliate for the Operation Spider's Web as they're trying to negotiate some type of peace deal. I guess how it goes is ceasefire, then peace deal. You just stop shooting each other and bombing each other. That would work, but all of that to cover and much more on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News. Thank you to everybody tuning in. I see some chats shouting out. Shout out to you guys in the chats. Thank you for joining us. Okay, on this day in history, and by the way, no guests today, but tomorrow we're going to have an interesting guest come on. Let me just plug that for administrative purposes. And to let you guys know, I'm trying to line up guests as much as I can, being my own producer. I have a few in the pipeline of interesting guests coming up here, hopefully. I'm just trying to sort out the details for scheduling. We have Jeff Dornick scheduled to come on tomorrow. He has his own show, and he's the CEO of a new social media app. I think we talked about it before, Pickaxe. And he's a big, he was a big Maha guy, a big MAGA guy before that. And so, but I think he's pretty honest, independent about his reporting and analysis of what all is going on, not just shilling for the government. And so we're going to bring him on to talk about all things MAGA, Maha, social media, big tech, all this type of stuff, AI. So Jeff Dornick scheduled tomorrow, again, CEO of Pickaxe, and he has his own show as well. I forget the name of his own show, but his main gig is CEO of Pickaxe, a new up-and-coming social media platform. So that should be an interesting show tomorrow. But back to today. On this day in history, I blame climate change for this one. Going back to the year 1825, we saw an unseasonable hurricane hit New York City. Of course, it was man-made climate change. They didn't even cook up that scheme then. But who cares? We'll blame it on CO2 emissions in 1825. In 1876, and this ties into a story we have today about California high-speed rail, but to just show you the it's hard to even put into words the level of fraud, waste, and corruption that the California high-speed rail has committed here in California. But going back on this day to the year 1876, we saw Transcontinental Express arrive in San Francisco, California, via the first transcontinental railroad, only 83 hours and 39 minutes after leaving New York. So it went from New York City to San Francisco, transcontinental, all the way across America here, from there to there, in 83 hours and 39 minutes in 1876. We can't even We can't even build a high-speed rail here in 2025 to get from Merced to freaking Bakersfield. And those not in California. It's a flat, straight run of nothing but farmland or desert. And they can't even get that done after, I don't even know how long they've been working on it, 10, 15 years. And so it looks like they're over budget, in debt, and the feds are throwing it down on them. We'll cover that for the California high-speed rail. But truly amazing what they could do back in 1876 that we can't seem to get out of our own corrupt way and do today with advanced technology and so on and so on. Okay. In 1887, Pasteur Institute was founded. Of course, they've been, sanitizing everything to the point of destroying any benefit that raw milk, for one, and go down the list of a lot of different items. And we do appreciate their efforts to sanitize the world. They're at the Louis Pasteur Institute, founded on this day in Paris in 1887. In 1896, Henry Ford drives his first Ford through the streets of Detroit. In 1912, Massachusetts passes the first U.S. minimum wage law. In 1919, U.S. Marines invade Costa Rica. That seems to be a noticing trend as well. Like every other year or every year, U.S. Marines invade somewhere. Of course, it's for their liberation, their freedom, and spreading democracy. In 1943, Argentina saw a coup d'etat performed on their government by its military, led by General Rawson and Colonel Juan Perón. In 1984, DNA is successfully cloned from an extinct animal. And then in 1989, and I found a video clip from CBS News, and I thought we'd play it because it does pan out and show the man with the shopping bags there. What is he officially called? To commemorate the Tiananmen Square massacre, shopping bags in hand, unknown protester stands in front of a line of tanks. Let's go to this short clip, and they pan out, and it's not just the tanks in that tight shot. Well, we'll show that and then show. Here's the tight shot, right? The most famous one that is blasted all over our media. But this guy stood up to a lot more than this on this day in 1989, right there. And so on this day, Chinese military opened up fire on peaceful protesters, killing an estimated 1,000. Here's the report about it.
When a man walked to the middle of the Avenue of Eternal Peace, which as it happened was already occupied. He walked to the middle and stood there. The man was alone, the tank was not. It wasn't just a single tank he stopped. There were 18 tanks and armored carriers in this convoy, and while he talked to the crew and ignored the gunfire, he stopped all of them. One man alone, of course, can't stop an army. Except for a moment, that's exactly what happened here. For 3 minutes in the middle of the day, an army was stopped by a man who stood still. A man who'd made up his mind, it seems, though why we just don't know. But when bystanders rushed in to save this stubborn soul, it wasn't easily done. He was pushed away at last, faceless in the crowd. Safe, we think, but in a city verging on calamity. What moves a man to just stand still? Is it courage or outrage or madness? We can't tell what was on his mind, and we can't forget what he did. Richard Roth, CBS News.
And they went on to kill 1,000 peaceful protesters there. It said June 5th in there, but I think it's like a time difference thing going on, because everything I'm seeing is June 4th. Maybe we'll celebrate it again tomorrow. Hell. Okay, what else here? Then, of course, the climate change UN framework, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, is signed in New York on this day in 1992. And then we go to, do we have the video? We have the video. I'm not sure what year this is. Probably should have found the year for you. But on this day for sure of June 4th, it's Killdozer Day, where Marvin Heeman, or Meyer, had a muffler shop in Granby, Colorado. One day, the city council approved the construction of a concrete factory that would ruin his business. When he protested, the city began a campaign of harassment and fines against him. Instead of accepting his fate, Meyer outfitted his massive Komatsu bulldozer with armored plates and a layer of concrete, like a phoenix from the ashes of his ruined livelihood. He then drove through the town in a rampage, targeting everyone who had screwed him over. Marvin's last written message read, and I quote, "I was always willing to be reasonable until I had to be unreasonable. Sometimes reasonable men must do unreasonable things." Let's watch a clip about Killdozer Day today.
A bulldozer levels a building in Granby, Colorado. Then another. And another. It's part of a meticulously planned citywide demolition project.
The bulldozer went crazy.
But this plan wasn't put together by city engineers or construction workers.
Just received a 911 call reporting that there is an out-of-control bulldozer.
It's the brainchild of an angry man with a grudge against a lot of local people and businesses.
They can't tell who's driving it, but there is someone inside.
The man inside this armor-plated bulldozer is Marv Heemeyer. As horrified townspeople run for their lives, Heemeyer wrecks buildings and vehicles one after another. And he's ready to take on sheriff's deputies or anybody else who stands in his way.
This is a bad situation, guys. We might need SWAT team.
Heemeyer's an accomplished welder who spent a lot of time inside a secret workshop.
Yeah, it's all encased in metal, and you can't see who's driving or anything.
There, he outfitted the dozer with 2 sheets of half-inch steel plating, with a layer of concrete in between.
What type do you need?
It's the biggest armor-piercing ammunition he has.
On this day, he seals himself in and takes off on a violent ride. Inside his cockpit, 2 assault rifles, lots of ammo, and video monitors to help him see where he's going. A bank, a hardware store, a concrete factory, even the town hall, and especially the police department. The one thing all of those places have in common, Heemeyer feels he has been wronged by these businesses or the people who own them. He even exacts revenge on the home of the town's former mayor.
He does have armor-piercing weaponry.
Deputies and SWAT teams try everything. But even armor-piercing bullets can't penetrate Marv Heemeyer's homemade metal and concrete shield.
Jasper now, if you want to try to box him in.
At one point, a heavy equipment operator decides to put a stop to the carnage. He climbs behind the wheel of his front-end loader and gets set to take on the armored bulldozer. But quickly, the operator finds himself in an industrial-sized game of chicken. Heemeyer speeds ahead, aiming directly for the blockage. Realizing his intentions, the loader attempts to flee, but the armored dozer gives chase. Ramming the tractor off its path, it steams ahead to its next target. Authorities seize the narrow opportunity, using the front loader truck to block the dozer in. The civilian operator hurries to safety. Forced to continue ahead, Heemeyer pushes his creation to the limit. The bulldozer grinds to a halt under the rubble of a steel building. Its engine has called it quits. As authorities try to get into the cab of his homemade tank, Marv Heemeyer takes his own life. It takes officers several hours and a cutting torch to finally get inside the cab. None of the townspeople are hurt, but the price tag on this rampage is about $7 million.
There you go. Happy Killdozer Day. Yeah, I don't know the exact year. I should have looked that up. I know it was this day. Let's just look it up real quick. Killdozer Rampage. Yeah, 2004 there, Gunther. 2004 on this day. One more thing on this day, a couple more things. I found this. See, I always learn a lot reading my on this day in history. This is our civil liberties history. Sorry I didn't keep it in chronological order, but going back to the year 1928, historic Louis Brandeis dissent on privacy. Olmsted versus the United States. The case of Olmsted versus the United States decided on this day involved the appeal of a bootlegger who had been convicted in part on the basis of wiretap evidence. The court upheld his conviction 5-4, but Justice Louis Brandeis delivered a historic dissent that articulated a constitutional right to privacy. In his famous dissent, I'm quoting Justice Brandeis now, he says, "The makers of our Constitution undertook to secure conditions favorable to the pursuit of happiness. They conferred as against the government the right to be let alone, the most comprehensive of rights and the most valued by civilized men. To protect that right, every unjustified intrusion by the government upon the privacy of the individual, whatever the means employed, must be deemed a violation of the Fourth Amendment." That's 1928. Now they literally laugh and spit in your face, and Palantir's building databases of enemies list of the government to come and orderly and efficiently terminate you. So I wonder what this Supreme Court justice would have had to say about all this. Probably would have loved it, right? And then also, another thing I did not know, on this day, 1917, the American Protective League, APL, was a private organization sanctioned. You need government permission because they have a monopoly on violence. A private organization sanctioned by the U.S. Justice Department that functioned as a private vigilante force during World War I. On this day, President Woodrow Wilson and his cabinet discussed and gave official sanction for the APL, even though some expressed doubts about its legality. Is any of it legal? Is the government legal? They're not legitimate. They claim legitimacy. They're not legitimate. But amazing that the government gave up some of its monopoly on force there and allowed a private vigilante league to uphold law and order there in 1917. All right. Do we have another segue? We played the two clips. Those were my segues, but we had to get it into the show. We have to do another segue clip here for to get into the news. Yeah, Democrats, I don't know. This is their argument for illegal immigration, and they're acting like we do have a legal immigration system. It's broken. It needs maybe some of this AI efficiency we keep hearing about to get to get things moving and get these people legal that want to follow the law. But let's hear from this Democrat. Who is this Clown World show? Democrat Representative Becca Ballant warns that without immigrants, we won't have anyone around to wipe our asses. She's literally saying that. And I guess this is the new Democrat argument for illegal immigration. I don't know. It's wild, though. These people are clown shows. Your elected representatives.
Labor, and of course, we have to come to a place in Congress where it is no longer a political issue, but we see it as an existential issue for the country. If we don't have avenues for people to come here legally to work or to build a home here, I'm going to be really crude right now. We're not going to have anybody around to wipe our asses because we don't have enough people.
Wow, what an elitist thing to say. Gunther says, Sam, I think your closing statements last night says it all. It's very bleak. Well, there's hope. There is hope for in mass compliance if we could have a real great awakening or whatever the hell they call it. Everybody's waking up and finding out, but no, you get put right back in your little political box, don't you? If everybody just said we're not complying with this corrupt government anymore, it could change. I mean, yeah, but I'm doubtful as well, honestly. But hey, we can always fight about politics, right? The political theater for the underclasses. They're rolling out a new phase of the political theater. Allegedly, Elon Musk is fighting with Trump about the big, beautiful bill. Here's propaganda out of the White House. Track tax cuts with our bill tracker. We got this, but they're saying they can't even read the bill before they vote on it in the House of Representatives. whitehouse.gov/one big beautiful bill, OBBB. You can go there and track it. Here it is. We're preparing your tax cuts. Really? Congress sets fiscal policy, which is tax policy. So the executive branch doesn't have anything to do with it, really. I guess they can lobby for the one big, beautiful bill. But who cares about civics, how our government actually is supposed to work? You got Trump in charge, and he has nice cufflinks and American flag pendant on his jacket there. And really all that matters. Backed by American industry. So what we can do, boycott all of these companies. You'd start by doing that. Stop doing business with them as much as you can. Some of them that you can't just get around, you know what I mean? But they give you lists everywhere about here's the assholes. Stop giving them your money. That's really the only vote that we have that actually counts as our purchasing power, as diminishing as it is through taxation and inflation. But stop giving these multinational globalist criminal companies your money. Stop giving them your business. That's one thing everybody could do as much as you can. I realize we all got to do what we got to do to get by, but take a second look at where you're spending your money. That's one big thing. Trump calls for scrapping debt limit. And so isn't this wonderful? That's a headline out of the Hill. And then we have the post from our Lord and Savior Trump here. So this is in reply to Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. So it's just like they're not legitimate, right? We know Elizabeth Warren, total fraud, darling of the socialist left, total fraud. Donald Trump, total fraud, darling of the, I don't even know what you call them, right-wing populist, I guess that's what they call themselves. So two total fraud politician actors acting in the political theater like they give a shit about the American people. So she says, Donald Trump, and I agree, the debt limit should be scrapped to prevent an economic catastrophe. Let's pass bipartisan bill to get rid of it forever. But jacking up the debt limit by $4 trillion to fund more tax breaks for billionaires is an outrage. I'm very pleased to announce that after all these years, I agree with Senator Elizabeth Warren on something. They sure do. The debt limit should be entirely scrapped to prevent an economic catastrophe. It is too devastating to be put in the hands of political people. And that's literally Congress's job. Oh my God. To be put in the hands of political people that may want to use it despite the horrendous effect it could have on our country and indirectly even the world. As to Senator Warren's second statement on the $4 trillion, I like that also. But it would have been done over a period of time as short as possible. Let's get together, Republicans and Democrats, and do this. There you go. MAGA, America First, whatever bullshit rhetoric. Wrap yourself in the flag and light yourself on fire. Whatever bullshit they're shoveling. There you go. Trump's telling you he's a damn socialist. Call me right there. But MAGA loves it. I think, remember Trump once said, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they would cheer me on. I believe it's true. MAGA, they're just, what do you do? What do you do for these people? I know in my personal life, all these right-wing Republican MAGA people, I'm like, Trump did this, he did this, he did this. Well, you just don't understand. There's a secret plan out there in the universe that you just don't understand. I'm like, but I understand the tyranny he's doing right in my face right here now. Oh, but it's a secret plan to get the bad guys and get everybody to wake up. Bullshit. It's tyranny in your face. All right? Wake up, grow up, MAGA Republicans. They don't want to hear it. So I guess I'm in league. So they'll say I'm in league with Elizabeth Warren now. Not Trump is in league with Elizabeth Warren, but I am for calling out this bullshit. That's where we're at in idiocracy clown world. More of the political theater here from Elon Musk, just off of his DOGE tour. They're getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, actually installing Palantir to run the U.S. federal government enemies list program and others. What are they? Officially, they're in charge now with the Foundry operating system, Palantir, that is, of Department of Homeland Security. They're making their list of domestic terrorist suspects. You better believe it. And they're in charge of ICE as well, and two other unmentioned government agencies, and in talks with the Social Security Administration and IRS. And so that's not far behind to fully integrate all of our data, connect all the dots through all the government, and put you in a nice little profile on their dashboard. So when they push that drone kill switch, they know what to go ahead and wipe out and what to steal from you. So there you go. But here's Musk, so we can play along with the political theater out there. He says, call your senator, call your congressman. Bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill.
Gentleman from Kentucky is
here's what Massey had to say about it, and we're playing along with it with him too.
90 seconds.
Well, I'd love to stand here and tell the American people, we can cut your taxes and we can increase spending and everything's going to be just fine. But I can't do that because I'm here to deliver a dose of reality. This bill dramatically increases deficits in the near term, but promises our government will be fiscally responsible 5 years from now. Where have we heard that before? How do you bind a future Congress to these promises? This bill is a debt bomb ticking. Congress can do funny math, fantasy math, if it wants, but bond investors don't. And this week, they sent us a message. Moody's downgraded our credit rating, and the bond investors who buy our debt and finance our debt demanded higher interest rates on the 10-year note, the 20-year note, and the 30-year note. What does this mean? Very soon, the government will be paying $16,000 of interest alone per U.S. family. And what are we telling them? Instead of taking care of that problem, we're going to give you a $1,600 tax break. Under the taxing and spending levels in this bill, we're going to rack up, the authors say, $20 trillion of new debt over the next 10 years. I'm telling you, it's closer to $30 trillion of new debt in the next 10 years. Mr. Speaker, we're not rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic tonight. We're putting coal in the boiler and setting a course for the iceberg.
But isn't that the plan? They're telling it, what do you say, 20 trillion over the next 10 years? He says 30 trillion. Does it even matter? We're in the Great Reset. They're resetting the whole global financial system right now as we speak and shifting power to the East is how this is all sorting out. And so more from Musk complaining about it. He's posting memes, kill the bill. And then here's Mike Johnson says that says he called Elon Musk last night and he didn't answer. So they have a whole fake feud going on here.
You mentioned that you talked to Elon on Monday, made this 180. What do you think changed? Why do you think he's coming out against this now? And have you spoken to the president and Elon since this?
Well, I'll tell you, I called Elon last night and he didn't answer, but I hope to talk to him today. I mean, it's not, it's very.
Yeah, the bonds have to pay more interest because the risk is higher because the credit rating went down because they don't care. Hell, abolish the debt limit. It doesn't matter. Trump's telling you he's being honest. So the big, beautiful bill, who knows what's going to happen? A lot of pushback, but it'll probably pass. They don't care. They don't care. They're all in on the conspiracy for the Great Reset. It's still a thing. Okay, on to the next scandal. Trump claims here on a post, the auto pin is the biggest political scandal in American history. Really? Wouldn't it be back to that whole monetary system thing where they sold the country out to the private central bank, the Federal Reserve, in 1913? Seems like that may be the biggest scandal, political scandal in American history. On they signed it into law on Christmas Eve when half of Congress wasn't even there. And so it seems like that may be, but on to the newest stupid scandal here to suck up the oxygen in the room and the news cycle. And so will anyone get in trouble? My prediction is no. No one will get in trouble for this. Will they void any of the alleged auto pen signed acts, executive orders, proclamations, laws, any of this that's allegedly signed into force by the President of America? Then Joe Biden, they're alleging it was all auto pen and Joe Biden was a vegetable and wasn't cognitively functioning. I do believe he wasn't fit to serve. And there's all these whistleblowers now after the fact, a little bit late. Doesn't matter. The big wheel turned. But then we have we have Clown World woman here, Sideshow Bob, lying. She should be arrested right now for treason against America. At the very least, the Justice Department could cook up some charges that would stick to these lies, the never-ending lies that this Sideshow Bob character told us over 2.5, 3 years, whatever it was. Who did Biden have? I think he just had Raggedy Ann and Sideshow Bob were his press secretaries. Never-ending lies and propaganda to the American people. Seems like they can find some conspiracy out of this whole thing and charge this woman. But hell, she's out with a new book, so she's decided that the wrongdoing was too much for her, and she's jumped ship and become an independent. Let's hear her trying to sell her BS book after the fact. They're all trying to cash in now on inside stories and, oh my gosh, can't believe what we did to America. Well, you knew the entire time. Here's Sideshow Bob selling her book, Independent. What a revelation.
Personally, I think what was the toughest thing to see in the 3 weeks was there was a disconnect for me what was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director Ben LeBolt said, it was a firing squad. And I had never seen anything like it before. I'd never seen a party do that in the way that they did. And it was hurtful and sad to see that happening. A firing squad around a person who I believe was a true patriot, a person who I believe did everything that he can for this country, a person who I believe, as I mentioned before, has done more in one term than most presidents had done in 2 terms, historical things. And I was shocked by what I was seeing.
And Karine, just to clarify, these are other Democrats and Democratic leadership coming out against Biden.
Yep, I had never seen anything like that. That was, if you're asking me, the thing that I saw in those 3 weeks, that was shocking. Shocking. And instead of coming together to really be unified and trying to figure out how do we save our democracy, how do we fight back, that's what I was seeing. And, you know, that's what...
So fake shocking, they call it the uniparty. The government wore out old Joe Biden, and it was time for the next phase of tyranny, which was obviously Trump. So they had to... Remember, it was after that debate with Trump where Biden froze up, did all his Biden glitching stuff. And shockingly enough, they threw him under the bus of the Democrat Party. Oh, you didn't remember back to when Bernie Sanders won the primary and they threw him under the bus with threats, bootlicking, who knows what went on behind the scenes. But we know that he was the left-wing populist candidate that won the Democrat primary in 2016, but yet he bowed down to Hillary Clinton and bowed out of the race. And so you couldn't see the corruption in the Democrat Party. Jean-Pierre. Well, obviously, the government said, we're done with Joe. He did his left-wing tyranny on you. Now it's time for the pendulum to swing back the other way for some right-wing tyranny on you there, as the tyrannical wings of the government, left and right, continue to march forward down the path of one world government, scientific dictatorship, technocracy. But we're shocked. I tell you, it's shocking to see the corruption inside the party. Yesterday reported on the alleged domestic terrorist guy, Mohammed, that attacked the Aardvark rally there in Colorado. Another traumatic story coming out of Colorado. It was reported yesterday. The White House was bragging about they arrested his entire family. Well, today we have news that a judge blocked deportation of Colorado terror suspect's family. White House told us yesterday they were bragging. They're all deported. They're out of here. Well, a judge in Colorado has temporarily blocked the Trump administration from deporting the wife and 5 children of Boulder firebomb suspect. So I don't know, I guess they're in ICE custody now. And so allegedly, again, the firebombing attack injured 12 people at a October 7th vigil honoring the victims of October 7th and the still held hostages by Hamas in Gaza. So this guy again. Yeah, maybe we need to slow up on the deportation and actually do a real investigation and figure out what the hell is going on here. Will the government ever give us that transparency and a real investigation? Oh, hell no. Whether this was staged, fake, total psyop, he's a patsy, it's an organic, radicalized Muslim. Does it really matter? I don't think it even really matters anymore. They're going to use this to take away more of our freedom, as we'll see later in the broadcast. Diddy, Epstein were protected by intel agencies. Former U.S. attorney drops the hammer And this guy, I don't like this guy, Benny Johnson. He's a total Trump shill bootlicker. But let's watch this report. The CIA and FBI, they knew? They're running all the drugs, all the child trafficking, human trafficking, all the bad stuff. Who the hell you think's running it? Our intelligence agencies, along with UK, aardvarks. You could just say Western intelligence is running all the criminal racketeering operations in the world. Who knew? It's shocking.
Type of like protection mechanism that's going on here. And the reason why I would ask that is not just outlandishly. So there's a record executive named Suge Knight who has done multiple interviews saying that Diddy was a Fed and that he was an FBI agent. He knew Diddy. He was in business with Diddy. And he's currently in prison, so I'm not sure what value he would have to, to say this. I believe that he's saying this honestly, that Diddy was a Fed and that Diddy worked for the FBI, and that part of this was part of this had some type of government fingerprints on it. What do you think about that?
I don't doubt Suge Knight. I don't think he has a reason to come forward with information. I've seen Suge Knight have before some solid information about corruption, and so it's not surprising. I think there's a pattern here, though. You see Epstein, you see others. There's rumors that float around that they worked, with the government agencies at times, and I would not doubt that. I would not doubt that there were CIA operations or FBI operations that were ongoing over the many decades in which many times these individuals were operating, criminally. And you go back to Epstein, and I was flabbergasted at the deal that, my colleague and friend, Alex Acosta, the U.S. attorney at the time in Florida, offered to Epstein. I mean, the only reason that you would believe that such a deal would be granted in that kind of a case and investigation was if there was solid information. Of course, we'll never know at this point, but there had to have been some solid information about some very high level targets in order to give such a deal to an individual that was such a criminal.
Really? He was the government. That's why. And this guy, Benny Johnson, that stupid look, him and Tucker, they get training from the same, obviously, they're trained by the same intelligence agencies to give interviews and do media. And it's shocking. Should have been knowing this a long time. Epstein invested with Peter Thiel and his estate in reaping, and his estate is reaping millions. Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, the late financier and sex offender, started by putting $40 million in Valier Ventures, a firm backed by Mr. Thiel. Today, the investment is worth $170 million. Wouldn't you know? That's the failing New York Times. Let's put that article up here. Nobody knew anything about it. Peter Thiel, of course, the head of technocracy, scientific dictatorship here. And so, yeah, they're good business partners. When was this? Well after he was convicted sex offender there for Mr. Epstein. Who cares? Turn your $4 million into 170? Yeah. Who cares if you're a child sex trafficker? And it just goes on to the sport. Yeah, they partnered up. We trust Thiel. We trust Thiel, right? Again, this story. Again, Trump taps Palantir to compile data on Americans. The failing New York Times finally woke up to the fact about what's going on here. So again, Palantir with seed money from CIA, InQtel, essentially a cutout of U.S. intelligence, CIA. There you go. Again, as we continue to report on it. Beat it in your MAGA friend's head, your MAGA family's head. Newsweek says Trump flipped on us. MAGA reacts to potential national citizen database. So they're doing it. You better damn well believe they're doing it. They already got it built. You better damn well it. Of course, Palantir denies it. No. Oh, sorry. And they misconstrue this guy, Jason Balser. He's like a libertarian, anarchist guy, cop watch guy. And I can't believe Newsweek cited his tweet, but they did in their article here. Well, let's go ahead and put it on the screen. He says, no, this Palantir database isn't like others. It will combine tax filing, student debt, Social Security, bank accounts, medical claims, immigration status. No previous database has ever centralized this much personal info across various federal agencies. And they also have the NSA database to dip in. Imagine that. We don't even hear about any of that. NSA has all your metadata as well as tying it to all these federal databases. So imagine the freaking profile that they actually have on every American. Probably everyone in the world, or at least they want one on everybody in the world. Old little Nick Fuentes, he's a big MAGA guy, on and again, off again. He's big against the aardvarks. Old Nick Fuentes says Trump's promotion of Palantir is the ultimate betrayal of his people, of his own people. This guy's shady as hell, though, too. Old Nick Fuentes. Feeding every MAGA extremist into an AI database controlled by CIA Mossad cutout. Seriously, if Palantir isn't the deep state, then what is? Well, that's probably pretty true. You left out UK there. You just throw them all in one bucket and call it Western intelligence. I think we know all the actors by now. The Anglo-American establishment. Immigration official defends tactics against criticism of heavy-handed arrest. So now in this press conference, who is this? The head of Immigration Customs Enforcement said at a press conference that they're claiming, what's the name? Lyons. What's his first name? I don't know if this is just a section guy, I think, out of Southern California. Todd Lyons, ICE's acting director. I guess he's the acting director. Todd Lyons, this guy right here. Not Ice Barbie. Sorry, Ice Barbie. We wanted her, but we got Todd Lyons. No, but seriously, he says right here, Lyons said in an interview on Fox and Friends Sunday that ICE was averaging about 1,600 arrests a day, a sharp increase from previous data that showed 78,155 arrests between Trump's inauguration and May 19th, a daily average of 656. So even if we're to believe the lying government, 1,600 arrests a day, not deportations, arrests, they're still nowhere on near the pace they need to deport all of the illegals that are in this country, as we have to walk the line of not violating American civil liberties as well, which the government don't give a damn about. So, so that's where the official government number, 1,600 arrests a week, not deportations, but just arrests. And then they have to go to immigration court and get a 5-year ticket to come back, maybe, possibly. And who knows what happens in the meantime. I guess they have to follow all the laws and whatnot. So our immigration system is severely screwed up and needs massive reform in America as they try to figure out what to do with all these illegals. Judge dismisses California's lawsuit over Trump tariffs, citing jurisdiction issue. But the court left open a path for state officials to appeal to the liberal-leaning U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. That's according to Politico here. Yeah, so the states don't have jurisdiction over federal trade policy. Shocker, I know. And remember, Newsom was all proud about it. I think we played his little clip about it. We're suing the Trump administration times of wasting our California taxpayer money. Who cares? You know what I mean? They knew it was unconstitutional. They didn't have jurisdiction. So whoever filed this lawsuit, Newsom and his attorney general, Bonta, they should be kicked out of office. No one ever gets in trouble. Like, you guys, you're wasting time, money, resources on these BS lawsuits. You know it. You're friggin' lawyers. You're allegedly know the Constitution. But they don't get in trouble for these frivolous lawsuits. We need to, bring back political duels, solve it that way, instead of wasting everybody's time, money, and resources on this nonsense to politically grandstand. And that's a segue. New scum, of course. Two, what did we cover at the beginning on this day? The Transcontinental Railroad made it from New York to San Francisco in 83 hours and some minutes. Now we have this story today about California high-speed rail debacle from Secretary Duffy, who has profited handsomely off of Trump's side issue, but he has profited handsomely off of Trump's taco trade policy. Trump always chickens out, right? But insiders don't care because they have the information about what is going to be announced to the public days ahead of time so they can make their investment moves. Anyway, that's a side note on this story. US DOT has found that the California high-speed rail project is in default of its federal grant awards totaling $4 billion. What's $4 billion? Who cares, right? Here's the cold hard truth. There's no viable path to complete the rail project on time or on budget. I think we've known that for like 10 years, but good that you caught up with the rest of us here, Secretary Duffy. If they can't deliver on their end of the deal, it could be soon time for these funds to flow to other projects that can achieve President's vision for building great, big, beautiful things again. New this morning, after an investigation, the Department of Transportation is ready to pull the plug on federal funding for California's high-speed rail project. There's the letter. So there it is, all there. But the lying criminals, and nobody's in trouble for stealing taxpayer money, unlimited amount of fraud, waste, abuse, grift, corrupt, paying off unions. Just go down the list. Every way you could steal money. What did I do? I talked to a guy at a meeting. He's like, that was working. He was retired then. When I talked to him, he's like, oh yeah, everybody knows. It's all grift, corruption. He's like, yeah, everybody knows. All the contractors involved in working on it, they all know. He's like, it's an inside joke. You know what I mean? And literally, no one gets in trouble stealing taxpayer money. Anyway, they need to go to prison. So we're going to have this monument to corruption here after they're pulling federal funding. But don't you worry, the High-Speed Rail Authority, that's the crime outfit running this whole boondoggle. They say private investors are interested. Well, I'm sure they are, with the federal government threatening to cut off the federal funding for the project. So you're going to draw in a bunch of private investors, really? Anyway, I can't wait for this to finally stop and someone get in trouble. It won't happen. Okay, so that's California corruption news for you. At the top of the hour, as customary, we'll take our live commercial break here now. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com for Pride Month, and every day of every month, you get your holograph sticker there. You can see all the colors on the rainbow there in different light. Go to weaponizednews.com, get your holograph sticker, get your clear background sticker. I'm sorry, this is the clear one. The clear, you can see, and the solid white background sticker. Put it on your laptop, your guitar, your bumper, your work locker, as one listener said they're going to do. Help spread the word about Weaponized News. We have these 3 different stickers. We have the pin here. Nobody seems to like the pin. That was a bad choice for me to get. But we have the pin as well, Weaponized News pin, and some other items in Weaponized News store. You can give us a donation. You can subscribe on Substack. You can subscribe on Rumble. You can, all kind of different ways you can give us your money on weaponizednews.com there. We appreciate the support from the subscribers. The small amount that we do get, it is appreciated. I know it's rough out there in the economy, but I'm bringing you independent reporting and analysis 5 days a week like no one else on the interwebs, maybe a few others, but few and far between, trying to get up on that, trying to get ranking on that Palantir kill list, because what else you got to do with your life but get on a government kill list? You know what I mean? So, as sad as it is, we do all have goals for the future. Okay, let's now hear from our sponsor, Abba Enterprises, and then we'll get back to the second part of Weaponized News.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for joining us on the second half of Weaponized News on this Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. As more people are piling in here, it seems. So what do we got in the second half? We got public health news. Let's go to that now from Bobby Kennedy Jr. He says, what we have now is a sick care system that's a bundle of perverse incentives. Our job is to disrupt that system and democratize it. Really? Let's hear this clip from Bobby Kennedy Jr. Attends Health Technology Ecosystem Summit.
I want to thank all of you for coming. The big challenge that we have here, and the big challenge the American health system, is aligning the outcomes that we want with the economic system. What we have now is a sick care system that's just this bundle of perverse incentives. Our job here over the next 4 years is to disrupt that system and to democratize it.
I want you all to recognize that this is a sentinel moment in the digital transformation and modernization of the healthcare system in this country. How do we make sure that this golden age of information technology that we're in translates over? How do we take this vast amount of data and turn it into something that the doctors and patients can use to make patients better?
We have a vision that technology can help empower patients with good information. Not just tons of information, but useful information.
Let's stop asking if the tech and standards are ready and ask if we are. And here at HHS, we are.
And we are open for business. That's the main message. We are open for business to hear from the private sector in how we transform medicine so it actually serves the American people more effectively.
Freedom and markets are the answers to almost all of our problems. We want to release and unleash market forces so that people are able to make rational choices. I thank you all very much for being part of this, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Yeah, nothing will change until they repeal that 86 liability protection on big pharma. That's for sure. Continuing here, and when they rolled out their AI ELSA system, probably Palantir in there as well. Pretty sure they are. And so to more efficiently terminate you is actually what they're doing here now. Let's hear from old Bhattacharya. We're still on the gain of function. Kennard, he's now blaming the United States government. NIH Director Bhattacharya, but no one gets in trouble again.
But I will say this. What we have done is we, including the NIH, has supported a research program with the utopian vision of preventing all pandemics. The way the research program has worked is that we fund people, EcoHealth Alliance once upon a time, to go out into the wild places, partner with foreign countries, including China, go out in the wild places, collect the pathogens in the bat caves or wherever.
Picking up bat droppings.
Right, so that we can catalog all of the viruses and pathogens out there.
Right.
Even if it's very unlikely that many humans will come in contact with those things. Bring those viruses and pathogens into labs, often in city centers, often not necessarily in high security environments. Do research on them to see if it's easy to manipulate them and cause them to become more transmissible among humans. And the idea is, if we can identify those viruses and pathogens that are more likely to make the leap into humans, then we can prepare in advance. We can create vaccines and antivirals or whatever before they make the leap in the population, so that when they make the leap, we are already ready.
Right.
There's two major problems with that. One of it working, which it doesn't, and then one of its safety, which it's not. First, if you make a study of a pathogen you found in the wild places that have never really ever infected humans before, and you create vaccines or whatnot to combat it, when they actually make the leap, evolution still works, right? It's not going to be the same virus you cataloged. These viruses evolve
very quickly
all the time. And so you have a snapshot from 10 years ago when you went to the bat cave, but you don't know what they look like now. And the vaccines and things that you've produced to try to prepare, you've never tested them on human populations before because no human had ever gotten the disease.
Okay.
So this is a foolhardy way you pretend to yourself that we've protected ourselves against a pandemic when we haven't. Second, the actual...
With the bats again. Sounds like great scientific research to me. I don't know what he's talking about. Right, YouTube? Right. Okay. This big court case, which could maybe potentially set the precedent for some legal action about the medical intervention and the protocols and all that went on, and hold somebody responsible. Grace Shara trial is going on right now. They're in, I believe, Wisconsin, isn't it? Where did I put the, let's see. Yeah, in Shara versus Ascension Health. And of course, that's this poor girl with Down syndrome that they terminated at the hospital there. We've had her dad on the show. He does a weekly show. He's trying to rally medical freedom, MAHA, whatever you want to call it, people that don't want you terminated due to eugenics policies in this country. I thought it was the humane thing to do. The landmark bat wrongful death suit in Appleton, Wisconsin began yesterday. And so American is tracking it and reporting to us. Cindy Shara introduced the jury to her daughter, Grace, a high-functioning 19-year-old with Down syndrome. And so, of course, this is eugenics to terminate the mentally unfit. And they did it. And they continue to do it. And so you're like, I don't care. I don't care. I hate Down syndrome people. They all deserve to die. I'm for eugenics. Get rid of the bad gene pool. You could have that attitude, but the problem is they're coming for you next, and they will define the unfit any way they want. That's what people need to wrap their mind around, the fact that if you don't stand up for the most vulnerable, a 19-year-old with Down syndrome, you're next. Like, I know our audience gets it, but many out there don't seem to get it. Still. I guess they'll know. Despite her apparent exhaustion, yeah, they've been fighting this thing like crazy. So yeah, they terminated her at the hospital under the protocol there. Quite her lead. We'll follow that trial here and report to you. Today's the second day, so they're hearing testimony. It's a miracle they even got it to a jury trial there, fighting uphill against the PrEP Act and other corruptions. Okay, enough about public health. On to PG&E and Palantir. Isn't it wonderful? So my power company here, PG&E, who is totally corrupt. PG&E pled guilty to 84 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Let's play this short clip to give those that are not under PG&E's public utility monopoly a taste about what they're all about. A wonderful company now partnering with Palantir.
Day in court today as the California utility company PG&E heard from family members of the 84 people killed in a fire in the town of Paradise 2 years ago. Here's CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti.
It was the most devastating fire in California history, and tonight, you murdered my dad. Outrage at those responsible as one by one,
PG&E took all this from me, all of it.
the sons and daughters of 84 victims took aim at Pacific Gas and Electric.
My dad covering my mom with his body.
Ariel Funk's mother survived. Her father suffered third-degree burns. He died 9 months later. PG&E admitted negligence for a faulty transmission line years overdue for repair that ignited the so-called campfire that leveled the town of Paradise.
Your Honor.
On Tuesday, the company CEO entered a plea.
Guilty, Your Honor.
84 times, Bill Johnson mouthed guilty to involuntary manslaughter. Today, he listened to survivors.
My father is dead.
The utility's message to the community:
We remain deeply, deeply sorry.
Is an apology from PG&E enough here?
Apologies completely hollow.
Consumer watchdog Jamie Court says PG&E still hasn't finished updating its aging grid, and California's fire season is already here. Or as so many expressed today in court,
how many more have to die?
And so there you go. Well, they said, Palantir said, hold my beer, because we got an AI kill system. You like killing people and not getting in trouble? What is it? What is it in Gaza? 60,000? We'll get to that. But yeah, so thankfully, here in California, here is from Palantir website now. PG&E plus Palantir. Well, hell, they're going to make everything more efficient and reduce energy costs. Let's watch this clip on Palantir website again.
capabilities in business functions, and we're only integrated as needed. Foundry is our central platform for data-driven decision-making and situational intelligence. It serves as the operating system that will enable effective end-to-end asset and risk management. In the future, Foundry will enable us to manage across the life cycle of the grid, from scenario modeling to work planning, scheduling, executing, operating, and closing. Our job here is to manage the grid as efficiently and effectively as possible, and that includes long-term optimizations, right? What are we going to do?
It goes on. They blame climate change. Sorry about the no sound there. But this is the Foundry system, the same operating system that the federal government's using, provided by Palantir. And people want solutions. And one solution: don't comply. Don't have a smart meter. I don't. I'm practicing what I preach here. It's a pain in the ass. They make you jump through a million hoops to do it. But what the hell? I'm not part of the smart meter control grid. And they blame climate change for the wildfires. It's poor forest management. As you saw in the other clip, it's neglect of maintenance by PG&E. It's arson here in California. Foundry is our central platform for data-driven decision-making and situational intelligence. It serves as the operating system that will enable effective end-to-end asset and risk management, Palantir says. And so, well, we're all up to date with Palantir Foundry operating system, coordinating all the data points on PG&E power delivery. So hell, everything's more efficient. We should have reduced energy rates, right? Well, turns out over the last 5 years, since 2020, PG&E electricity rates have increased by 60%. 60 in 5 years. That's more than double. But I was promised efficiency. No. PG&E rates have increased 60% over the last 5 years. So what do you get out of all this high-tech AI BS? You get screwed even more. And so opt out of your smart meter is a big solution to this. And it's a pain in the ass, and you got to fill out some paperwork, and you got to fill out a little bit of money, or just say, hey, I signed up to scientific dictatorship, technocracy, look the other way, and I love it. And I love my orderly termination as well. You know what I mean? So that's one big thing they can do, is just opt out, all legal and lawfully, like. Quite horrific. And so another thing, you can go Palantir website, where here's Palantir website, and you can not do business with any of these companies. Another thing that you can do. And funny enough, I'll probably follow this, the UN World Food Program, the one they're having all this trouble with over there in Gaza. Well, they're partnering with Palantir, also partnering with the IDF and Lavender AI kill system. Isn't that feels like full spectrum dominance going on here now, doesn't it? Some of these you probably are institutional. Like, I don't have a choice. Either I do business with PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, or I have no electricity, because they're a monopoly on the public utility here in California, essentially. There are no other service providers. So there, I don't have a choice, or have no electricity. And they don't let you go off the grid with your own system. They'll condemn your property. So, but anyway, if you find yourself, and here's all their willing accomplices to the scientific dictatorship, technocracy, all the industries. Here's, you can go through here and find the companies, and don't do business with them. It's a big solution. People don't even think about it. They just shuffle along like the zombies that we are. Okay, on to the what is happening with Ukraine and Russia? Well, Putin has said he's going to retaliate. The future of war is happening right now in Ukraine, the Free Press tells us. Isn't this lovely? Ukraine strikes into Russia illustrate the historical role of surprise in battlefield success. They also test the country's fragile relationship with the fractious leadership of America. And then here is, well, we find out that Ukraine's credit rating plunges to D for default. Of course, Russia propaganda RT tells us. S&P Global dumps its rating on GDP-linked securities after Zelensky fails to make June $665 million payment. Kiev admits it can't pay, asks for debt restructuring. Well, hell, we should just give them a bunch of money and not want anything back, actually. Here's some good footage now. Ukraine's SBU has dropped footage from Operation Spider's Web showing FPV drones slamming into Russian strategic bombers at multiple air bases June 1st. This is the best clip that we got of it. Let's take a look. And so that's about it. All the same footage of them blowing up planes with drones. And what's Putin's reply? Let's hear from the most evil man in the world, YouTube, Putin. Let's hear what he had to say about this.
It was a deliberate strike, and it only confirms our suspicions that the illegitimate regime in Kiev that came to power through a coup is now being reborn as a terrorist organization, and its sponsors become supporters of terrorism. Recently, the Ukrainian government and their allies dreamt of inflicting a strategic defeat on Russia on the battlefield. Now they're withdrawing from the battle zone, fleeing, and now the Kiev regime is trying to resort to terrorist attacks. At the same time, they're asking for a ceasefire. They're asking for top-level meetings. But how can we organize such meetings? Something like this is happening. What is there to talk about? How can we negotiate with those who are resorting to terrorism? And why should we reward them with a cessation in hostilities, allowing them to receive additional weapons to continue their mobilization and prepare for more terrorist attacks like those in the Bryansk and Kursk regions?
A good point from the most evil man in the world there, Putin. Kerry says that the US-UK knew. Nah, they denied it, said it was all Zelensky cooked it up over 18 months of planning, and it's officially been denied that America knew anything about it. Well, hell yeah, they knew about it. Ridiculous. Here's NATO warmongering.
NATO is the most powerful defense alliance in world history. It's even more powerful than the Roman Empire. And more powerful than the Napoleon Empire. We are the most powerful defense alliance in world history.
Defense alliance or war alliance? I think he misspoke there. Oh, but now in our Orwellian world, we call it defense, not war, right? The Department of Defense, not the Department of War, because everything is upside down here. What do they say? Yeah, cutting your pension there for NATO, further militarization in UK. That's what they're looking at. So that's always wonderful. And then here's, I guess Putin now has the Elon Musk Cyberlink, or was it Neuralink brain chip implanted into Trump. Trump talked to old Putin, the two most evil men in the world, had a phone conversation today. And Trump said that I just finished speaking by telephone with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. The call lasted approximately an hour and 15 minutes. We discussed the attack on Russia's docked airplanes by Ukraine and also various other attacks that have been taking place by both sides. It was a good conversation, but not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. But Trump, you promised us, elect me and I'll have peace in 24 hours. President Putin did say very strongly that he will have to respond to the recent attack on the airfields. We also discussed Iran and the fact that time is running out on Iran's decision pertaining to nuclear weapons, which must be made quickly. I stated to President Putin that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. On this, I believe that we were in agreement. President Putin suggested that he will participate in the discussions with Iran, that he could perhaps be helpful in getting this brought to a rapid conclusion. It is my opinion that Iran has been slow walking their decision on this very important matter, and we will need a definitive answer in a very short period of time. So we'll see. Warmonger Lindsey Graham, who's voting for this clown? Is this not proof that elections are rigged? Really, South Carolina, you're proud, and this is your congressman. I don't even know how many terms he's been in there. A long friggin' time. Was Senate served 6 years? So was he been? He's been in there like at least 3 terms now, right? So you're telling me over like the last 20 years, South Carolina dutifully voted for Senator Lindsey Graham? Graham claims that if Russia wins the war against Ukraine, it will be akin to the U.S. collapse in Afghanistan, claiming it will set the world on fire. Here's a war criminal Graham's video.
En ce qui concerne l'Ukraine et la Russie, si cette guerre se termine de manière à donner l'impression que la Russie a gagné, elle mettra le feu au monde. Le retrait d'Afghanistan par les États-Unis, c'était une terrible décision. Cela a déclenché l'invasion de l'Ukraine par la Russie. Cela a fait paraître l'Amérique faible. J'ai dit au président Trump en privé et maintenant en public que si cette guerre se terminait de telle sorte que nous abandonnions l'Ukraine, ce serait pire que l'Afghanistan pour la stabilité du monde. Et vous ne voulez pas vous attribuer cela.
Sorry about that clip. That was like reverse transcription, translated into French. But there you go. So yeah, shame on you if you voted for him in South Carolina there. Horrific. Old, what is this guy title? Special Envoy, something like this. General Kellogg. This is exactly what the U.S. is trying to avoid. Talking about the Operation Spiderweb. Let's watch this clip. You think? Yeah, how are you going to negotiate when they're bombing you still? Thought we had peace talks tomorrow. You guys just bomb the hell out of us.
And I'm telling you, the risk levels are going way up. I mean, what happened this weekend, people have to understand in the national security space, when you attack an opponent's part of their national survival system, which is their triad, the nuclear triad, that means your risk level goes up because you don't know what the other side's going to do. You're not sure. That, first of all, it was a very bold attack. And when you do that, it's very clear the risk levels will go up. And I think that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to get to a position where the risk levels are going so high that this thing will expand. And that's where we don't want to be.
So you're right.
And
the risk levels are expanding indeed. Yeah, get rid of them all, Chloe says, and Lindsay needs to exit. Indeed. Here is Palantir executive Mike Gallagher suggesting pro-Palestinian protesters are a domestic terrorist movement, which the state must use all legal mechanisms to shut down. Let's watch this clip on the War Channel, Fox News, of course. These are college kids, anti-war protesters. Put them on a domestic enemies kill list run by Palantir. What the hell?
Well, the irony is, if you went to Gaza and you tried to pull off a shenanigan like this, as I pointed out after the protesters were ushered off stage, you would quickly be thrown off a building. There is no freedom under the rule of a Salafi jihadist terrorist death cult like Hamas. These people that are calling for freedom, these groups allow for absolutely none of it. So the irony is almost too much to stomach when you're dealing with these people. But again, they're also not interested in free speech or freedom of exchange. They were intending to disrupt a free exchange of ideas. So these people are both incredibly uninformed, they're brainwashed, but now they've become something much more, which is a dangerous movement, a domestic terrorist movement. We must use all legal mechanisms at our disposal to prevent people from being harmed. And I think politicians on the left, on the right, everywhere in between can come together around that basic, very fundamental American.
They could come around the Aardvark. They could all come around the Aardvark lobby, donating to their campaigns, as well as we have documented extensively here on Weaponized News. Oh my gosh! So imagine that. Imagine that. Oh, here's what he had to say again, and that was from Information Liberation. That guy's a good follow on the X and his website as well. Info Lib News is his handle. He's been around a long time, independent reporting. But same Mike Gallagher, now executive at Palantir, former representative out of Wisconsin, said who serves as chair. This is he did. When was this post? This is New York Post from October 31st, 2023. He says, and he said the quiet part out loud about the old TikTok ban. And so at that time in 23, he was serving on he was chair of the House Select Committee on China. He told the New York Post that TikTok has become ground zero for disinformation and pro-Hamas propaganda, and warned TikTok parent company ByteDance's ties to Beijing have made it difficult to separate organic viral trends from China-backed bots or influence campaigns. We have zero visibility into whether the viral nature of the content is the result of user engagement, bot campaigns, or CCP covert influence, Gallagher said. All of this illustrates the fundamental problem with TikTok. It is an avenue for CCP to covertly inject any message it wants, particularly during a crisis, into the American bloodstream. We must act now to ban it. Pro-Hamas propaganda. And see, again, conflating the two. Being against the genocide doesn't mean you're pro-Hamas. Another one, it's always the same. It comes down to the same dialectic on almost every issue. Coke, Pepsi, red team, blue team, aardvarks, Hamas. No, We want you to stop killing people. Stop killing aardvarks. Stop killing Palestinians. F the aardvark government, F the Palestinian government, which is Hamas. But we have to always Coke, Pepsi, good, bad, white hat, black hat. It's all BS, man. The bottom line is stop killing people on all sides. On all sides. But especially on the side which are peasants living in freaking plastic tents compared to the most advanced military in the world. I mean, so you better bet all those student protesters we saw last spring, they're all on the domestic enemies list here now, as Mike Gallagher, now executive of Palantir, dubs them domestic terrorist movement. You better bet all of those students are on that list. Another airstrike by America in Somalia. Nobody notices, nobody cares. We're up to 31 airstrikes in Somalia this year, getting those radical jihadist terrorists, ISIS, that were funded, armed, trained, and radicalized by Western intelligence. So there you go. Circle jerk of bombing continues there. Aardvark signed a record $14 billion in defense deals last year, despite Gaza war criticism. Well, hell, they're good at killing people. And that's a report out of the AP. Let's take a little deeper look at that. Aardvark signed defense contracts worth nearly $15 billion last year, surpassing its all-time record, the country's defense ministry said yesterday, even as international outrage mounts over the war in Gaza. Is it a war? It's more like a genocide. Over half the deals were with European countries. The contracts, a 13% increase from 2023, itself a record year, came as Aardvark land faces growing international condemnation and isolation over the nearly 20-month war. Yeah, but we like your kill technology, so we're going to go ahead and pay you a bunch of money for it. The breakdown of Aardvark's 2024 defense deals by region: European countries, 54%, our good Western liberal friends there. Asian Pacific countries, 23%. Arab countries, you would think there'd be no deals, but apparently they're corrupt sellouts as well, 12%. Arab countries that have normalized ties with Aardvark land under the Trump-brokered Abraham Accords, 12%. North America, that includes America, 9%. Latin America, 1%. Africa, 1%. Nearly half the deals were for missiles, rockets, and air defense systems, Aardvark Defense Military Ministry said. Others include the sale of vehicles and armored personnel carriers, satellites and space systems, and intelligence and cyber systems. That's the big one that we're focusing on, is the AI run by Palantir, the Lavender system specifically there in Aardvark land. Aardvark Defense Minister Aardvark Katz said the record amount was a direct result of Aardvark land's battlefield achievements throughout the wars that have roiled the Middle East since the worst attack in world history, October 2nd, 2023. The official number they cite in AP is 54,000 people killed there in Gaza, and they're citing the Gaza Health Ministry, mostly women and children. Well, they're Hamas. They're all Hamas, right? Right. In the last 24 hours, Aardvark military, IDF, has killed 95 Palestinians in Gaza in the last 24 hours. All Hamas, of course. And yeah, the genocide continues with help from America U.S. vetoes UN resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. The United States was the only member of the 15-member Security Council at the United Nations that didn't vote in favor of the resolution, using its veto power to override the vote that's here now from America at the United Nations. Complicit in genocide, ethnic cleansing, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. America, we love it.
U.S. opposition to this resolution should come as no surprise. It is unacceptable for what it does say. It is unacceptable for what it does not say. And it is unacceptable for the manner in which it has been advanced. The United States has been clear. We would not support any measure that fails to condemn Hamas and does not call for Hamas to disarm and leave Gaza. In recent months, Hamas has rejected numerous ceasefire proposals, including one over the weekend, that would provide a pathway to end this conflict and release the remaining 58 hostages. We cannot allow the Security Council to reward Hamas's intransigence.
There you go. Thank you, America, for not rewarding Hamas. U.S. going against the will of the entire world, blocking the UN ceasefire resolution. Hamas said, U.S. going against the will of the entire world there at the United Nations. And of course, our Lord and Savior, Shadow President Bibi, thanking America for continuing to support the genocide. Says, thank you, America, President Trump, for once again showing our enemies that there is no daylight between us. Well, thank you. We do appreciate that. According to a YouGov poll, support for aardvarks across Western Europe. You don't say. Let's take a look at the graph here. You don't say Britain is falling off a cliff. France falling off a cliff. It was high right when they hyped the worst attack in world history, October 7th, right? You'd see right there. Or it was way up. It was way up. It's been trending down. Spiked up a little bit, back down. See France falling off a cliff. Germany falling off a cliff. Denmark off a cliff. Spain off a cliff. Italy off a cliff. According to YouGov data, support for aardvark land across Western Europe. There are no free wars. This came out yesterday, but I didn't see a translated clip with subtitles. Today we have it. And so from our Shadow President Bibi, he tells aardvarks that aardvark land, it'll pay a heavy price for victory, and condolence message to soldiers' families. More than 860 aardvark troops have been killed since October 7th. Again, stop the killing on both sides.
הם נפלו במלחמה צודקת שאין כמוה, במלחמה שאנחנו נכריע את החמאס, נשחרר את כל חטופינו, ונבטיח שעזה לא תהווה יותר איום על ישראל. אנחנו מתקדמים בצורה מדודה כדי למנוע או לצמצם ככל האפשר את נפילת חיילינו. אבל לצערנו אין מלחמות חינם, והמחיר שאתם משלמים, המחיר שעם ישראל משלם, הוא כבד, לפעמים נראה כבד מנשוא, אבל אנחנו נשיג את מטרות המלחמה, את כולן, בלי יוצא מן הכלל.
Are they going to get Greta? And see, this interview is Greta Thunberg with Democracy Now! Interview with Democracy Now! From her flotilla of aid, Freedom Flotilla, heading toward Gaza. Will Aardvark strike down Greta Thunberg? That's what we're waiting to see.
We're speaking to you from the United States, where the South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham wrote on X, "Hope Greta and her friends can swim." Your response?
We can swim very well. It says a lot about their priorities that in the face of genocide and systematic starvation of 2 million people, lawmakers, elected officials whose responsibility it should be to serve the people and to protect the people, that they, rather than ending their complicity in genocide and the mass slaughtering of civilians, are focusing on mocking people who are at least trying to do their bits. I think that says everything we need to know about their priorities.
And finally, your message to Palestinians who perhaps have read about or heard about your voyage or waiting your arrival. What is your message to them?
My message to them would be that we stand behind you in every step of the way. We are standing in solidarity with you. We see you. And I am also my deepest apologies on behalf of the outside world, especially the Western world, that we continue to betray you and that more people are not stepping up. But I promise that at least we here will try our very best.
Well, there you go. Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg. Very careful. Aardvarks may just take her out. They don't give a damn, man. Yeah, they're bombing the hell out of Gaza today. Again. Of course, the damn Hamas are everywhere. Lavender flashback. We reported on this time, Simon and I, when it broke. This is like over a year ago now. It's coming back up in the news with Palantir, but I remember reporting on it. Palantir's Lavender system, the AI machine directing Aardvark's bombing spree in Gaza. And this is that whole 6 degrees of separation thing where if they can link you any kind of way and they categorize you on a list of priorities to kill, like 1 to 100, and they just check off the list as your perceived threat to Aardvark land, and they go about the orderly termination of you. And so again, you'd say, I hate Muslims, they deserve it. I hate Hamas, they all deserve it. I hate Palestinians, they all deserve it. Kill them all, make it turn Gaza into a parking lot, into glass. You could say all that, love it, be a neocon warmonger from hell. All that's well and fine and dandy. But have the common sense to realize this is going to be turned against you at the drop of a hat. Anytime the government in America says that you're a political dissident now. People can't wrap their mind around this fact. They just can't wrap their mind around it. Screw Hamas, screw the Muslims. I hate them all. This can all be used against you. They're testing it out right now on the Palestinians. Do you understand? Scientific dictatorship, technocracy, one world government. How U.S. intelligence and American company feed Aardvark Land's killing machine in Gaza. I think we have a clip of it. Here's one report, and then we have another report. But this was back at the time. I found this randomly searching, but I don't know if we played this, actually. I think we may have played this at the time. Again, it was 972 magazine that broke the story, like on April 3rd, 2024, about this whole dystopic nightmare system. We had commercials, excuse me. See if we can, here we go. Let's watch this, and we got another clip about it.
You don't want to waste expensive bombs on unimportant people.
While the testimony of Israeli soldiers exposed their ruthless mindset towards the bombing of Palestinian civilians, these indiscriminate killings are not carried out alone. The American AI company Palantir is the mastermind behind Israel's killing system, and not surprisingly, it is also deeply entrenched in the Trump administration. Peter Thiel, the billionaire founder of PayPal and Airbnb, has used his wealth to gain powerful influence in the White House, spending millions to fund Donald Trump's campaign. In exchange, his company, Palantir, has secured lucrative contracts with the Department of Defense and the FBI.
The primary way to create peace in this world is to scare our adversaries when they wake up, when they go to bed, whatever they're doing, they're scared. If you want to have peace in the world, that's how you do it.
This influence has extended beyond the US borders. Palantir's AI products have been in high demand in Israel, especially after forming a strategic partnership. The Israeli army's killing system heavily relies on AI programs, particularly using a kill, search, destroy strategy in the early stages of the war.
What do you think about the use of artificial intelligence, or Lavender, by the IDF in identifying Hamas targets?
Look, I'm not. Without going into all the I'm not on top of all the details of what's going on in Israel because my bias is to defer to Israel.
Lavender is one such AI system designed to identify and target Palestinians. It scans surveillance data on nearly everyone in Gaza to predict how likely they are to be a Hamas member. Those with highest scores are added to a kill list.
Because of the system, the targets never end. You have another 36,000 waiting.
The Israeli forces deliberately and systematically bombed the homes of targeted individuals, killing entire families based solely on AI algorithms. Over 40,000 Palestinians were marked for assassination, with thousands of women and children killed as collateral damage. According to an investigation by an Israeli journalist, Yuval Abraham, Where is Daddy is one of their deadliest weapon systems, which tracked targets and signaled to the Israeli army when they entered their family homes.
It's much easier to bomb a family's home. The system is built to look for them in these situations.
Palantir has been condemned for aiding the Israeli army with intelligence and surveillance, including predictive policing of innocent civilians. While it is not clear which specific tools Palantir has created, their involvement undeniably marks a dark chapter in human history.
Indeed, more reporting. It's all coming to America. It's for you. That's why they did all this. It's for you, America. And you'll cheer it on with your stupid red Make America Great Again hat.
In 2024, Palantir made a deal with Israel to harness Palantir's advanced technology in support of war-related missions. We see part of that technology today as the Lavender AI system, which assigns Palestinians a numerical score of 1 to 100 based on how likely they are of being an enemy. It has a 10% error rate, which has been acceptable for Israel and Palantir.
Getting wealthy off of killing Palestinians. Palantir kills Palestinians with their AI and technology.
Oh.
They're killing my family in Palestine.
Yeah. And you know,
how do you sleep at night?
well, if you,
Shame on you.
do you want to hear my answer? So the primary source of death in Palestine is the fact that Hamas has realized that there are millions and millions of useful idiots that will.
Using that excuse. This is why you don't get a platform. How dare you? Your AI and your technology from Palantir kills Palestinians.
Mostly terrorists.
So what do you think about the use of artificial intelligence, or Lavender, by the IDF in identifying Hamas targets?
Look, I'm not. without going into all the I'm not on top of all the details of what's going on in Israel because my bias is to defer to Israel. It's not for us to second guess everything, and I believe that broadly the IDF gets to decide what it wants to do, and that they're broadly in the right.
And along with the Lavender system, there is the Habsora AI system, which means the gospel, which is an AI tool created to address the human issue of running out of targets. Habsora generates up to 100 targets per day. Both these AI systems use Palantir's advanced surveillance technology to track every person's phone records, social media, and movement patterns. Palantir's tech is used by the US military and local police departments. It is the premier tool for mass surveillance. When running for his first term, Trump was saying he would implement a biometric tracking system.
We will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. We will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel donated $1.25 million to that campaign, and he donated $15 million to J.D. Vance's 2022 Ohio Senate campaign. Palantir has significant ties to the CIA, starting in 2004 when the CIA's venture capital arm, In-Q-Tel, gave Palantir $2 million. Palantir's Gotham platform was developed by and for the CIA. Initially, the CIA was Palantir's sole customer for several years. Palantir is the CIA's surveillance tool. And now, Palantir is to create a system for the federal government that will monitor every American under an AI system, linking Social Security, the IRS, and immigration into one centralized system. It will be using its Gotham software, developed by the CIA, to track and condition human behavior. Most of yesterday's alternative media support this. For those who can still think clearly, this is as dystopian as it gets. But there are many fools who are content that the fascist society being put into place will not be woke. But don't be surprised if it comes with a carbon tax and an American version of a social credit system. Greg Reese reporting.
So isn't that nice? The CIA is running my power company over here, PG&E, in California. It's wonderful. And jacking up the rate 60% over the last 5 years. And blaming climate change. So I guess we'll have that freedom tax. It's beyond the pale, dystopic. What else do we got? A couple other reports. I don't know if I can't take anymore, honestly. We're at the 2-hour mark. We'll wrap it up there. There's this one real sad story. We got a couple more, but I just can't take anymore. The sad story about this kid, Palestinian kid in Gaza. Of course, he's Hamas. That's always the disclaimer. They went to get the food aid, and they killed his mother and his little sister there. And he's warning, don't go to the food aid, U.S. food aid distribution centers. They will kill you. He said they killed my mother and my baby brother before that. Here's a short clip. We'll play it tomorrow. It's heartbreaking, honestly. Here's the kid. This one isn't translated. There he is. We'll probably play, I don't know, tomorrow or Friday. Maybe we'll have some better news then. I don't know. But we do have a longer clip of him warning, don't go to the aid station. They'll kill you. We do have a translated version, I believe. But that's all we got for today on Weaponized News. Do what you can, what little bit you can. Opt out of their systems here if you can. Okay, let me go to the channels and take a look at Odysee first. A few people over there. John, if you're still there, yeah, actually, no word from Barry. I did email him again today, actually. No word. He's fallen off of the map. We don't know what happened to Barry. Hoping that everything's okay with him. I wouldn't come back as Peter Thiel or any of these skin sacks. Highlands on there. What does he say? Our government should be jailed indeed. Indeed, Highland. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee and keeping that chat going lively. Over to the Bitchute. And again, tomorrow we're going to have Jeff Dornick on. And so that shall be interesting interview with CEO of Pickaxe, Jeff Dornick, tomorrow to go over all things Maha, MAGA, social media censorship, everything in between. I'm sure we'll probably touch on Palantir as that's now broken into the mainstream. They're not going to be able to put the genie back in the bottle, but what good does it do? They already have all our data and got us tracked, traced, and profiled. So you're on the domestic terrorist kill list. Shout out to those watching on Bitchute. Thank you guys for tuning in there. I do see videos hanging up again. I don't know what's the deal over there. When they load them for on demand, we get over 100 views on almost every show, but there's a bunch hung up again, so I got to email them again. But thank you guys for tuning in live on the Bitchute. The Rumble, lively chat as always. Lively chat as always. Chloe says, I don't know how you do it every day. Yeah, I don't know. It's just reporting on our orderly demise here. But I think we've documented it, and we have to do it. We're documenting it every day here, beyond any doubt, multiple sources. I don't know. I just feel compelled that at this point in time, it needs to be done by somebody trying to shoot you straight down the middle and not being not buying into all this nonsense and seeing things for what they really are. Of course, I still have biases and blind spots as well, but I'm doing my best over here to independently report and analyze this dystopian one world government great reset that we're in the middle of here for you, and trying to offer the little solutions we have. Again, your purchasing power, opt out of these smart grid AI systems as best you can, and try to slow it down the best you can, and speak out against it and tell them no MAGA, no Trump, and no whoever, government in general. Now it's Trump. We don't agree with any of this tyranny that you're rolling out upon us. So thank you guys for keeping the chat lively on the Rumble, the Facebook, the X, the Kick, and Twitch, and YouTube, of course. Thank you guys for tuning in on all of those channels and keeping it lively. And as always, everybody do your own research. And the links, all the links to everything we talked about, all the videos we played, will be on Weaponized News Substack later tonight for further research into the scientific dictatorship, technocracy, one world government agenda. Peace, love, and liberty. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Wednesday evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Thursday for